This is Dave Gardner from 36db, and I've been walking you through the Progressive Trance Environment. Drop us an email or hit us up on our socials if you have any questions. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so in this environment we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sounds. There are 1, 2, 3 bass sounds. You'll notice that each of the sounds has at least 10 presets on it, and some of them come with their own unique effects unit as well. These first 3 here are the bass sounds, like solo, that one. This is kind of quite a techno, kind of trancey kind of bass sound. And I mean, the presets are really good on this one as well. Yeah, instantly changing the vibe as well of a track. The second bass sound is it's a more subby version of things. Again, it's got its own presets. And the third bass sound is this hollow bass sound, which is quite typical of this style of music, actually. This one has its own effects on it as well, as you can see. So if I put it's very good for kind of changing the vibe again. The first of the kind of synthier sounds is our polywonka sound. So this one, again, you have your 10 presets. You have all these, like on all of our sounds, you have everything is macroed up, so you're able to kind of manipulate any of the presets. Anyway, so if we flick through these presets, you can see. And you might not, you think, oh, okay, I need more attack. You know, you can kind of very easily manipulate that sound. It's a bit like having the actual synthesizer. Then this has its own effects as well, so you're able to, you know, it's great, you know, very versatile sound. I'm sure you can hear the potential in what you can do with it. The next lead sound is the Technotronics lead. This sound, I mean, as far as inspiration for these sounds are, they mainly come from records that we like, or song tracks that we've heard or we like, and you know, I mean, you could hear that sound in anything from a Paul Kalkbrenner record to maybe a Book of Shade record to maybe, you know, a Tales of Us record. You know, there's a little bit of everything in there, which I think is, it's a good thing, really. Again, this one has its own unique to this environment effects unit. This one's called 36db chorus crunch delay. So if we play about with this, you can see it actually is destroying the sound, isn't it? You know, if you play about with, change the preset of the actual sound. Yes. Very, very, very kind of creative effects. Let's go back to the original. Yeah, it's cool. Very cool. The next one is the loose language lead. This is another great sound. This to me sounds like I don't know. It's got that kind of. It sounds very German to me. It's like I could hear this on like something on Cocoon or something like that. It's kind of got that vibe about it. Again, it's got its own unique, its own presets and its own unique effects as well. The great thing about having your effects like this is that if I wanted to, for example, if I wanted to go, okay, I want to try the effects from that on that channel and the effects from that on that channel, you just swap them over, and it really is that easy. You know, you're kind of going, all right, okay. You know, go back to the You know, that actually sounds really good with the crunchy effects on it. The next one is the poly blips. This is a great sound. I mean, this is quite a universal sound. You'll hear this on just about every type of music, for anything from disco, new disco, to kind of that Alphosy kind of sound, or to you know, big room trancier records. Yeah, it's quite a common sound. Again, the effects are really good on this one. You know, it's completely changed the sound. The great thing about all of these sounds is that, especially if you're new to Ableton or if you're new to synthesis, is a great way of kind of getting introduced to how these things work. You know, you've got, you know, every one of these things has 10 presets, and it's a great way of getting you going. Like if I show you how these are all racked up here, but if we actually go in and look, you can see, okay, this is the synth. So you could actually get really detailed and go in here and start editing the sound as well. You know, we've put everything on a macro control because we think that those are the important bits that you want to have control over. But you could change that. You know, you could go in there and go, well, do you know what? I don't want to have the LFO on that one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the ring mod to that, and then you just assign it like that. Or, you know, and you can have multiple parameters attached to one macro control. So if I did want to have both the LFO and the ring mod on there, you can see it's changed the name there. But now if I move it, not only is it moving the LFO here, but it's also moving it here as well. So you can do really wacky things with this when you get under the hood. But again, so if we look at how the sound is built up, obviously you have some EQ. And that one's pretty simple actually, but the point being is that you're able to kind of learn how these things are put together. If we look at the effects, you know, you've got your yeah, exactly. So you've got an echo here, which has been mapped, and then you've got is that raw? Yeah, that's a raw. So yeah, again, Ableton being so modular, you're able to add your own. If you wanted to customize what's already there, you think, okay, well, I want a bit of reverb on that. You just go to your the audio effects options, and grab the reverb and drop it in here. You know, and again, you could map that to that dry and wet as well. So if I wanted to put that on there, you know, lots of possibilities. Okay, so now we get to the pads in this environment. So they're quite epic sounding pads, you know, kind of very Blade Runner actually in places. But let's have a look at what this one's made up of. This one is basically made up of, yeah, a poly. So you've got, this is a great synth actually. It kind of does a lot of the stuff that you can kind of do with an SH-101, you know, some of the Roland Jupiter. You can get Jupiter-esque sounds from this. Again, if you look, it's kind of built, this one's quite a complex sound. You've got a delay, you've got some overdrive, the reverb, some EQ, and then obviously the synth, and again, all mapped to macros. So if we listen to that sound, you know, just to show you how versatile this is, you know, the tone of that's completely changed now. It's kind of got a Selena kind of vibe about it. You know, again, very different. You know, you might, you know, if you were looking to make those sounds, you might actually make those sounds up of, you know, 4 different synthesizers from, you know, various different software companies. But, you know, with ours, you're able to do this with, you know, just using Ableton's plugins, which they're pretty amazing things when you actually get to know them. The next one is the Massive Pad Stack. epic. Again, presets. It's very Vangelis. And then the last one is the filter pad. It's kind of a nice thing to kind of add tension to the arrangement. You know, again, the presets are doing very, very kind of different things. Yeah, it's good. And lastly, we have some effects which have been made using our guitar pedals, and again are unique to this environment. We also have a vocal sample in here, which is, and that has its own effects unit on it as well. So let's have a look at that. So you have, yeah, I mean, quite wacky sounds. You know, if you look under the hood here, it's got the new auto pitch plugin that is in Ableton 12.2. You've got a delay here and some reverb and an echo, and you can hear it doing, it's quite a crazy kind of effects actually. Again though, you know, that might sound great on top of, if we drag that on top of the poly blips just to see what that sounds like. Let's put that on, where are we, poly blips. Let's drag it on there. And what we'll do is we'll turn off the effects that are on the poly blips. Let's see what this sounds like. Yeah, I mean, it's very different. Very eventide, actually. We also have 5 return channels. These are unique to this environment as well. You have pitch and drive, which is, it's quite a crazy return actually. Let's play the Polly Wonka sound and just check these returns out. If I solo the Polly Wonka and then I turn on send to return A, which you do, oh, wait a second. There we go. Yeah, really cool. Yeah, very cool. On return B, we have another glitch, which is pretty obvious what that's going to be doing. Yeah. Crazy. This one's made up of a raw, an echo, some delay, spectral delay, and some compression. Yeah, I mean, mental sounds. So yeah, return C is pitch tube dub delay, which is pretty crazy, as you can tell. lots of fun. Okay, so return D is the sick polygon. This is nice and bendy and does some kind of wacky pitch and tube kind of effects. Yeah, I mean yeah, so you've got an auto filter, echo, and some hybrid reverb. You know, the thing, these effects are so good. They're, you know, you can hear how crazy that effect is, but you wouldn't necessarily think that it was actually just those 3 plugins that are doing that. It's because it's you know, it's very, 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 very powerful. Yeah, very cool. And then the last return, which return E, is, this is an interesting one because it's basically when Ableton in 12.2 they updated the auto filter, which is a great filter. And what they added to it was they added the comb filter, basically, which is, if anyone's familiar with the old GRM Tools comb filter effects, they were so powerful. You could incredible for sound design. But so with now that that's been added to auto filter, you can do really mad stuff. So we've got 2 of them here, and they're kind of, one is destroying what the other one is doing. So if we play, yeah, you can see that the LFOs are doing crazy stuff here. Let's try that on a different sound, actually. We'll try it on the vocal. Yeah. Yeah. The great thing about having the effects built like this, if you just do that, you hit new, it will bring you up a new variation here, and then you just hit that, save it, and then you've saved your preset. And all of our effects and all of the sounds, everything, you're able to do that as well. So you're able to, you know, you might have stumbled across something where you're like, wow, that's really good, and you know, you can instantly save it like that. It's a very powerful side of Ableton. Okay, so as with all 36dB environments, they come with some really useful mastering settings. So if you listen to our drums, let's make a loop here actually. So if we make a loop there, okay, the drums already sound pretty good, but if you then turn this on, you can feel the weight that it's added, and it kind of glues it together a bit as well. You also have some presets here as well, so if you wanted to push the drums a bit more, you know, you can feel that kind of, it's a bit kind of, yeah, it's a bit more driven, the drums are. This is a bit of a warmer sound, that's really biting, it's kind of distorting a bit, and this is really crunchy. You know, that's very useful. You know, if you're, one of the biggest things that people kind of worry about is do my drums sound any good? And these are a great way of kind of getting a very professional sound very quickly. On top of that, on the master channel, we also have the Progressive Trance master channel. Now, this, you know, if you've got that, I mean, you just see what this does to the sound. I mean, it really makes it full. These are great ways of, you know, getting your, if you wanted to make, say if you were on the road and you did something and you were working in one of these environments and you like, oh, I want to play this out tonight, you know, you could easily play something that has been through one of these master channels, because the dynamics are all there. It sounds like a finished record and will stand up in a club, no problem. You know, the difference is staggering actually if you listen to that. And then, you know, it's got the weight, it's full, nice bit of width as well. It's very good. At 36dB, we have a split camp where we half of us work where we split our drums up and then group them together, and the other half of us like to deal with patterns here, which is why typically every environment has the two options. I personally prefer having the channels split out and then grouping them together. I like the control that gives you. I like the versatility that it gives you, that you're able to drop and change things very easily. I mean, you can do that with the patterns. I find, and a couple of the other people in the company find, that this is a great way of maintaining the workflow. So you're not getting bogged down where you've gone, oh God, if I moved a bit of MIDI note somewhere, and you know, you're able to kind of instantly look and go, oh, okay, this is the kick. Okay, what am I doing? Oh, okay. You know, you're able to hone in on things, and you're focusing on one thing out, and you can go to the next thing. Thanks for watching this 36dB Progressive Trance walkthrough. Want to learn more techniques like this? Follow us on 36db.live. And if you have any questions, hit us up in the comments or DM us.